I'll reciprocate with you in the WhatsApp later, okay?
You are reciprocating by hosting this class, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
If you say so, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajak Acharya Ashtotara Shata Shri Srimad with His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Founder Acharya of ISKCON Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajak Acharya Ashtotara Shata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jayadvaita Gadadhar Shri Vatsadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavanandam Ki Jai. Shri Mathur Dham Ki Jai. Shri Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Brihad Mridanga Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtyacha Deshacharine. This is Srimad Bhagavatam class happening regularly on Mondays by His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj, and the time now is 7 p.m. in New Jersey / USA, today we're going to begin with text 67. The canto is canto 4, and the chapter, actually I like to say the title of the canto, fourth canto, entitled The Creation of the Fourth Order, and the chapter is chapter 9, entitled Dhruva Maharaj Returns Home, and text 667, and I'm going to read it, and allow me to introduce myself. The previous host on a regular basis has been His Grace Ekendra Prabhu, but he asked me to replace him. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity. Ekendra Das Prabhu, thank you very much, you're most kind. And my name is Vijaya Krishna Das. Starting with text 67, if Maharaj wants me to go on.
Proceed.
Thank you very much, Maharaj, my humble obeisances. So, text 67, Atmanam cha pravayasam akalaya visham patihi vanam virakta pratishtad vimri shan natmanogatim. Translation. After considering his advanced age and deliberating on the welfare of his spiritual self, King Uttanapad detached himself from worldly affairs and entered the forest. Purport. This is the sign of a Rajarshi. King Uttanapad was very opulent and was emperor of the world, and these attachments were certainly very great. Modern politicians are not as great as kings like Maharaj Uttanapad, but because they get some political power for some days, they become so much attached to their positions that they never retire unless they are removed from their posts by cruel death or killed by some opposing political party. It is within our experience that the politicians in India do not quit their positions until death. This was not the practice in olden days, as it is evident from the behavior of King Uttanapad. Immediately after installing his worthy son Dhruva Maharaj on the throne, he left his home and palace. There are hundreds and thousands of instances like this in which kings, in their mature age, would give up their kingdoms and go to the forest to practice austerity. Practice of austerity is the main business of human life. As Maharaj Dhruva practiced austerity in his early age, his father, Maharaj Uttanapad, in his old age, also practiced austerity in the forest. In modern days, however, it is not possible to give up one's home and go to the forest to practice austerity. But if people of all ages would take shelter of the Krishna consciousness movement and practice the simple austerities of no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, and no meat eating, and chant the Hare Krishna mantra regularly, 16 rounds, by this practical method, it would be a very easy task to get salvation from this material world. Om Gyana Timrandasya, Gyanam Jana Shalakaya, Shakshur Unmilitam Jena, Tajmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale, Svayam Rupa Kadamahyam, Dadati Svapadantikam. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha, Shunyavadi Pashtyacha Deshacharine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, what called my attention, I'm going to give a brief comment before asking His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj to offer his contribution to the Sangha, if any. My brief comment is based on what just called my attention while I was reading this purport. And the quote from the purport goes as follows, quote, more or less at the middle of the purport, quote, practice of austerity is the main business of human life. So based on this quote, my brief comment would be as follows. Yes, the search for the inquisitive human beings. It's not that all types of human beings they get to be inquisitive. That is mostly in Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, mostly Kali Yuga, it's an age characterized by the symptom of people are the opposite of inquisitive. They couldn't care less about the meaning of life and searching for the meaning of life and what life is all about. They do the opposite. They just want to gratify their senses. And they go to the extreme of not saving time, working hard for little enjoyment, because in Kali Yuga, although you may work very hard, still the enjoyment will be very little in reciprocation to your hard work. And then where is the time in Kali Yuga for people to reflect upon the meaning of life, there's no time left. So yes, the search for the meaning of life by the inquisitive human being, there are some in Kali Yuga, and so these people, these inquisitive people, they sooner or later, if they get to be fortunate enough, they will find guidance based on what the authorized disciplic succession has to offer them, in the sense of answering their quest for their search for the meaning of life. The disciplic succession will tell them and teach them that unless you practice austerity, you will, for the purpose of purifying yourself, because you cannot understand the meaning of life unless you submit yourself to the process of purification. Unless we become purified from the contaminations offered to us by the external energy of the Lord, the material energy, we will never get to understand what is the meaning of life. And so the price to pay for us to engage in the main and only business of human life is the practice of austerity, and at the end of the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions what kind of austerity is prescribed exactly for the age of Kali, at least for the present age of Kali. He mentions we should submit ourselves to avoid illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and meat eating. And we should chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Those are the austerities which are very easy to perform due to the special dispensation by Lord Chaitanya, the Yuga avatar for this age of Kali. Yuga avatar also in the sense that he is the one who prescribes the religious process for purification for this age of Kali. So again, the austerities are no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, and no meat eating. And together with that, we should practice the joyful austerity of chanting Hare Krishna. If we do that, we can get saved. Salvation is guaranteed. So the human life in a sense is not different from acting in accordance with what the disciplic succession is ready to teach us, and what they have to teach us is, and in that sense we are very fortunate, is the simple method of purifying ourselves through avoiding the do nots. Don't do this, but do that. So again, do not face the austerities of not doing illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and meat eating. Just avoid those four sinful and impure principles, and attach yourself to the chanting of the Maha Mantra. Then the problem, because the mission of human life will become accomplished. We will become successful human beings, because the mission of human life will become accomplished. We will become purified, and again we will become saved, in the sense that we will get to know who is God and how to love him. And also we will get to know how much he loves us. So that would be my comment. And now I ask if Maharaj, Jayadvaita Maharaj, has any contribution to offer to the Sangha.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Giranjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kodamahyam Dadati Shopadantikam Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Aschatade Shatara. Well, here we find that since I'm working on the topic, the Atmanam Cha Privasam Akalya, the king saw, now I'm old. And when I'm old, what should I do? Vanam virakta pratistad permission atmanogatim. He thought about the real goal of life, detached himself, and went to the forest. Pratishtad. He departed for the forest because in family life and especially in royal life, so many attachments build up, and the goal of life becomes secondary. It becomes somewhere in the background. It's sort of on autopilot or something like that. But this is the real business of life, become detached from this material world and attached to Krishna. So later we'll find that Dhruva Maharaj also leaves the kingdom. And here Uttanapada did that. So Prabhupada says one doesn't have to leave literally for the forest, but one first of all has to practice austerities. It's clear from this, no illicit sex, no intoxicants, no gambling, no meat eating. In old age, any sex is illicit sex, because sex is only for having children. In old age, one is unlikely to have that intention. And therefore, the rule is no sex, which anyways is the preferred dose. No sex. Other aspects of the Vanaprastha may be at one's option. One may not go literally to the forest, but one has to give up sex life, which is the anchor to the material world. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you very much. You're most kind. And I didn't introduce Ross Prabhu as the devotee who is in charge of reading what's being posted in the chat. Ross Prabhu, do you mind?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Murari Gupta.
Murari Gupta Prabhu writes, Hare Krishna Maharaj, do you feel this principle of retiring from government management as one gets older holds good for ISKCON managers also?
Why not? Why should one hold on to a post till the very end? Someone that I was talking to observed recently that there's a whole generation of devotees who've been skipped, essentially, as far as involvement in the leadership of ISKCON. They just were never given the opportunity to do that because the elderly people from my generation were holding on to all the positions of responsibility. That's not wonderful. Prabhupada wrote me one time, continue your prescribed duties and train others. So for those who are older, the prescription is train others and hand things over. And Krishna will give us more. It's not that there's nothing to do if we give up our posts. Who was talking about this? Vaikuntha Prabhu, who's now in Hawaii, was talking about this, that what we really need, he said, is for the people of my generation, he's like half a generation later, people of my generation to go out and preach, to Hari Prajakacharya, to go out, give association to the devotees, give guidance, give leadership. There's not a shortage of managers. There are better managers than we were, and even than we are. So handing things over, handing to be Prabhupada's our example. At the earliest opportunity, he handed over as much management as he could and kept handing it over. He created the GBC early in the game to hand things over. He handed over book production, handed things over. And still, he wasn't bored. It's not that he had nothing to do. There's more to life than management. And yes, handing over our ISKCON responsibilities is very good. Now we see this past year, I think quite a number of GBC men have thought it wise to retire. So, very good. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Maharaj, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Any other comment related to this text 67 from any member of the Sangha before we pass to the following verse? Comment or question? Okay, if not, I would like to, and yes, Sarasvati Devidas Mataji, I got your private message. Just allow me to invite Ekendra Prabhu to read if he is available. We're starting chapter 10 entitled Dhruva Maharaj's fight with the Yakshas. Are you available to read text 1, Ekendra Prabhu?
I have someone. Yes, still.
I forgot to ask. Of course, Maharaj.
So reading from chapter 10, Dhruva Maharaj's fight with the Yakshas. Maitreya Uvacha Rajapater Duhitarang Shishumarasya Vaidruvaha Upayeme Brahmin Nama Tatsuto Kalpavatsaro. The great sage Maitreya said, "My dear Vidura, thereafter Dhruva Maharaj married the daughter of Prajapati, Shishumara, whose name was Brahmi, and 2 sons named Kalpa and Vatsara were born of her." Purport. It appears that Dhruva Maharaj married after being installed on the throne of his father, and after the departure of his father to the forest for self-realization. It is very important to note in this connection that since Maharaj Uttanapad was greatly affectionate towards his son, and since it is the duty of a father to get his sons and daughters married as quickly as possible, why did he not get his son married before he left home? The answer is that Maharaj Uttanapad was a Raja Rishi, saintly king. Although he was busy in his political affairs and duties of government management, he was very anxious for self-realization. Therefore, as soon as his son Dhruva Maharaj was quite worthy to take charge of the government, he took this opportunity to leave home, just like his son, who, without fear, left home for self-realization, even at the age of 5 years. These are rare instances from which we can see that the importance of spiritual realization is above all other important work. Maharaj Uttanapad knew very well that to get his son Dhruva Maharaj married was not so important that it should take preference to his going away to the forest for self-realization.
Generally, excuses are given. No, I have to get my children married. I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to do this. I have to do that. No, why don't you accept Vanaprastha life, come live in Vrindavan, or do something for Krishna consciousness movement? Well, first I have to get this, that, my daughter married, my son married. But this is backwards. Prabhupada said generally the grahastas think this way, but their most important business is earning money and taking care of their family. But here, no, my most important business is self-realization. All right, throne is occupied, out. Let me get out. He didn't even wait. Somehow the boy will get married. I don't have to hang out at the palace and manage it. He'll do it. So in this way, he indicated the real priority of human life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much. Any other comment or question from the members of the Sangha related to text 1 we just read? If not, we can go to text 2. And Maharaj, do you have any other devotee with you for the reading of text 2?
I'll read it.
Of course, Maharaj.
Nilayam api bharyayam vayuputryam mahabalaha putram utkalanamanam yoshidratnam ajidjanat. The greatly powerful Dhruva Maharaj had another wife named Ila, who was the daughter of the demigod Vayu. By her he begot a son named Utkal and a very beautiful daughter. Uttamas Twakritodvaho Mrigayam Baliyaj Mrigayayam Baliyasha Ata Punya Jane Hadrao Tanmatasya Gatim Gata. Dhruva Maharaj's younger brother Uttam, who was still unmarried, once went on a hunting excursion and was killed by a powerful yaksha in the Himalayan mountains. Along with him, his mother, Suruchi, also followed the path of her son. She died. Dhruvo Bhratravidham Shrutva Kopa Marsha Shutarpitaha Chaitram Shandanam Hastaya Kata Punya Janalayam. When Dhruva Maharaj heard of the killing of his brother Uttam by the Yakshas in the Himalaya mountains, being overwhelmed with lamentation and anger, he got in his chariot and went out for victory over the city of the Yakshas, Lakapuri. Dhruva Maharaj is becoming angry, overwhelmed with grief, and envious of the enemies, was not incompatible with his position as a great devotee. It is a misunderstanding that a devotee should not be angry, envious, or overwhelmed by lamentation. Dhruva Maharaj was the king, and when his brother was unceremoniously killed it was his duty to take revenge against the Yakshas from the Himalayas. So these emotions may be there even in the devotee, anger, and so on. And we'll see these unfold how this unfolds in this chapter. Any questions here? Advodi chim tisham raja rujanu charasevitam tadarsha himavadronyam purim guhyaka sanpudam. Dhruv Maharaj went to the northern direction of the Himalayan range. In a valley, he saw a city full of ghostly persons who were followers of Lord Shiva. Purport: in this verse, it is stated that the Yakshas are more or less devotees of Lord Shiva. By this indication, the Yakshas may be taken to be the Himalayan tribes, like the Tibetans. Yes. My thinking. So these were ghostly persons, these Guyakas. We see that even for in ordinary affairs, there are persons who, by their very appearance, seem haunted. They seem like ghosts themselves. Usually, those who are have too much alcohol in them. They're in the mode of ignorance, and they become like ghosts. And so there can be actual ghosts, or they can be persons who are like ghosts in the Tamagun, and they're generally followers of Lord Shiva. Hare Krishna.
Praveen Krishna Prabhu writes, when is lamentation and such qualities considered material for devotees? Or in other words, if a devotee is lamenting for some material loss, it is not material?
Generally, it's an interesting question. In the purport, I was wondering that also. It's a little surprising that we hear being overwhelmed by these things is not untoward for a devotee, but I just take it on face value. And also let me think for a moment. Even if we take it that it's unnatural for a devotee or unbecoming a devotee, by virtue of having this material body, there'll always be something, some sentiment may be there, and it may get out of hand. But the predominant thing in the devotee's life is the importance of pure devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Yes,
we have
Ras Prabhu. Yes.
Question in the chat from Mukesh Rajpurohit Prabhu from Pune, it looks like. It is true that a devotee should not approach Lord when in grief?
No, it's not true. One should always approach the Lord, but there's some restrictions on going to the temple. When one's angry, one should not be angry before the deity. There may be some other such restrictions regarding, therefore, when someone dies in the family is considered impure for such and such time. That purity is, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, so the one after the death of a close relative, then one may not go to the temple for some days. Mind becomes overwhelmed with thoughts of the person who's left and so on. But then quickly one's faith and attention should be transferred to Govinda, Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much. Yes, one more question. One more post in the chat, Ross Prabhu.
Yeah. Venkatesh Prabhu writes, how is it that anger, cunningness, and such qualities are there in spiritual world as well in Krishna's pastimes?
Well, they're manifestations of Chit Shakti, the internal energy. Everything's there. Anger is there. The gopis get angry at Krishna. Confusion and madness are there. Krishna, Radharani is, what is it? Krishna is milking a bull, and Radharani's talking madly with a bumblebee. And so fear is there. Devotees are fearful that Krishna may get in some trouble. All these things are there by the power of Chit Shakti, the internal energy of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much. Any other comment or question related to the verses that Maharaj just read? If not, we need a reader for text 6, and I insist on asking Ekendra Prabhu because it seems to me that with Maharaj there's no more readers. So I insist on asking Ekendra Prabhu if he would like to read text 6, if you're available. I guess not. So
you can ask Saraswati if she's available.
Yes, she sent me a private message saying that she's available to read. Mother Saraswati Devi Dasi Mataji, please.
Text 6. Dadamo shankam brihad bahu kham disha chanunadayan yenu dvigna drasha shaktar upadevyo trashan prisham. Translation. Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, as soon as Dhruva Maharaja reached Alkapuri, he immediately blew his conch shell, and the sound reverberated throughout the entire sky in every direction. The wives of the Yakshas became very much frightened. From their eyes it was apparent that they were full of anxiety. Text 7. Tato nishkramya balina upadeva mahabhataha asahantastaninadam abhipyuturudhayudaha. Translation. O hero Vidura, the greatly powerful heroes of the Yakshas, unable to tolerate the resounding vibration of the conch shell of Dhruva Maharaja, came forth from their city with weapons and attacked Dhruva. Text 8. Satana patato vira ugra dhanva maharataha ekakam yuga pat sarvan ahan banish tribiha. Translation. Dhruva Maharaja, who was a great charioteer and certainly a great bowman, also immediately began to kill them by simultaneously discharging arrows 3 at a time. Text 9. Deve lalate lagneshter ishubhi sarva eva hi matvani rastam atmanam ashmasan karma tasyatat. Translation: When the heroes of the Yakshas saw that all their heads were being thus threatened by Dhruv Maharaj, they could very easily understand their awkward position, and they concluded that they would certainly be defeated. But as heroes, they lauded the action of Dhruva. Purport: This spirit of fighting in a sporting attitude is very significant in this verse. The Yakshas were severely attacked. Dhruv Maharaja was their enemy, but still, upon witnessing the wonderful heroic acts of Maharaj Dhruv, they were very pleased with him. This straightforward appreciation of an enemy's prowess is a characteristic of real Kshatriya spirit. Om Gyanantimirindasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. It may be quite surprising in today's standard and modern warfare that the Yakshas, the enemies of Dhruv Maharaja, actually appreciated Dhruv Maharaja's valor and how his aptitude in the warfare and the releasing of the different weapons. Nowadays, we don't usually find in battle that appreciation of the opposition is really very much appreciated. And the Yakshas, they come from this planet, Bhuvarlok, where it's said that their bodies are mostly subtle. They sort of exist in this subtle body. And the king of the Yakshas is Kuver Maharaj, who of course we know is the treasurer for the demigods too. And it's significant here that although they knew that they would certainly be defeated, because they were definitely outwitted and definitely their prowess couldn't match Dhruv Maharaja's, they didn't sort of turn their back and flee the battlefield. They weren't cowards, so they were going to see the battle to the end. And this is significant because the real Kshatriya spirit means that even if you're going to be facing imminent death, you don't just flee like a coward and show your back. So I thought that was wonderful, that compared to what we see these days, the actual spirit of battle and valor is appreciated. We hear similar things in the Battle of Kurukshetra too, that when Arjuna was fighting with either Dronacharya or Bhishma Pita or anyone else, they very much appreciated and understood how capable he was in the whole art, especially of archery. In fact, it's said that Dronacharya was so proud, and he even relayed how proud he was that Arjuna could stand there and fight against them and with complete force and not holding anything back, because Dronacharya warned Arjuna that if you hold anything back because I'm your teacher, I'm not going to be very pleased. I'm going to be so ashamed of you. So he wanted Arjuna to come and attack him with full force. And this is, as I said, the true Kshatriya spirit. No matter which battle you happen to find yourself in, you give it your all, you give it your best, and even if you know you're facing certain death, it doesn't matter. You face it with the true warrior spirit. In the Ramayana, I've been recently watching, they were showing how Lord Ramchandra's twin sons, Love and Kush, of course they didn't know each other, that was the father and that this was their son, and how when they released the weapons, first they fought against the other brothers, Shatrughna, and then Bharat and Lakshman, and then finally Lord Ram came. All of them were greatly surprised at how these students, disciples of Valmiki, at such a tender age could be such capable warriors. They were completely blown away. In fact, they were defeated. And which, in some way it showed a little bit of humor how these twin boys were able to defeat their great uncles who were such great warriors in themselves. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you very much for your reading and comment. If I may say, it's very beautiful comment. Any other contribution from the member? Yes, Maharaj, please. Do you have any contribution?
Maybe just a mundane example, because Saraswati mentioned that, this was the old Kshatriya spirit, but we hardly see it anymore. This is a snippet from a book about Vietnam. 200 meters away, facing the Marine trenches, there was an NVA sniper with a 50 caliber machine gun who shot at the Marines from a tiny spider hole. During the day, he fired at anything that rose above the sandbags, and at night he fired at any lights he could see. You could see him clearly from the trench, and if you were looking through the scope of a Marine sniper's rifle, you could even see his face. The Marines fired on his position with mortars and recoilless rifles, and he would drop into his hole and wait. Gunships fired rockets at him, and when they were through, he would come up again and fire. Finally, napalm was called in, and for 10 minutes, the air above the spider hole was black and orange from the strike, while the ground around it was galvanized clean of every living thing. When all of it cleared, the sniper popped up and fired off a single round, and the Marines in the trenches cheered. They called him Luke the Gook, and after that, no one wanted anything to happen to him. So it seems that this spirit of appreciation for the enemy can still be found every now and then, even in the modern world. But in the world of the Mahabharata, this was the standard. The chivalrous Kshatriyas, even if they were, when they saw great acts of heroism by the enemy, they were appreciative. They weren't envious. They weren't dismissive. They appreciated what wonderful fighting. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you very much. Yes, now it's the time to ask if there are any other comments or questions related to the text read by Saraswati Devidasi Mataji. If not, what happens now is that we are 8 minutes to the end of the class, and I think it's better for me to, as the host of today's class, to ask His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj if it's time for closing kirtan or if it is time for one more verse. Maharaj?
Let's see. We have 11 and 12. We can read 11 and 12. Good.
Would you like to read it, Maharaj?
Or
Text 10.
you didn't do text 10, huh? Well, let's see what text 10 is about. Let's get back there. Well, this is a natural stopping point. Why don't we do kirtan?
Of course, Maharaj, as you wish. And do you have a devotional band with you?
I'll ask him. Yep.
One-man band.
A one-man band.
One-man band, okay.
You're on.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Om Vishnupad Hanuman Saparipad Jakacharya Ashto Tarashta Shri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Tham Ki Jai Navadip Tham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamana Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. All right, thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you,
you very
Maharaj.
much, Maharaj, for having us. Eh, eh, I forget the closing words. Please, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And Hare Krishna to all the attendants for attending. Thank you very much.